Hello, my mystical, magical, metaphysical friends. Thank you so much for being here. This is Sabrina, and this is the Three Sisters Rising podcast. Let's see what the universe has to tell us today. Daily Collective Reading, July 19th, 2026. Welcome to today's Daily Collective Reading. Pull what resonates and leave what doesn't. This reading is meant for the collective. Take what speaks to your soul. Card 1, The Magician. Theme, mastery, manifestation, personal power. The Magician opens this reading with a powerful reminder. You have everything you need. All 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, are at your disposal. The infinity symbol above the magician's head speaks to limitless potential. This card is asking you to stop waiting for permission or the right moment. Your tools are already in your hand. The magician says, act with intention, and the universe will meet you there. Card 2, 6 of Swords. Theme, transition, moving forward, calmer waters ahead. The 6 of Swords speaks of leaving turbulent waters behind, not in defeat, but in wisdom. You may be in the middle of a transition right now, moving away from something that no longer serves you. The journey may feel bittersweet. Trust the passage. Calmer waters are ahead. Card 3, 3 of Swords. Theme, heartbreak, grief. Release the 3 of Swords. Doesn't sugarcoat it. There is pain. This card acknowledges the grief sitting heavy in your chest. But here's the medicine. Feel it fully so you can release it fully. The moon is full, illuminating even the darkest corners of what you're carrying. Healing begins with honesty. Card 4, The Fool. Theme, new beginnings, leap of faith, infinite possibility, and here, the rainbow. The Fool leaps from the cliff's edge in radical trust. After the grief of the 3 of Swords, the Fool arrives as a promise. Something new is waiting on the other side. This is your invitation to begin again, to say yes to the unknown. Overall message. Today's spread tells a complete story of transformation. Step into your power, trust the transition, honor the grief, and take a courageous leap into the new chapter. Feel it all. Trust the process. The rainbow is real. Want to go deeper? You can book a private reading with us here on our website at Three Sisters Co. crystalsoddities.com. You can also check out our Patreon page, our Gofundme page, and we are also on Facebook and TikTok. Let's go now to our daily blog post. Again, those are the 4 cards drawn today. The Magician, 6 of Swords, 3 of Swords, and the Fool. Today's blog post is Protection Work, a deep dive into the ancient art of spiritual defense. Protection work is one of the oldest, most universal practices in human spiritual history. Across every culture, every continent, and every era, people have sought ways to shield themselves, their bodies, their homes, their families, their energy, from harm. Whether that harm came in the form of illness, evil spirits, jealousy, curses, or simply the chaotic forces of the unseen world, humanity has always answered with intention, ritual, and sacred tools. Today we're going deep. This is your comprehensive guide to protection work. What it is, where it came from, how it was passed down through generations, and the many forms it takes in modern spiritual practice. What is protection work? At its core, protection work is any intentional spiritual practice designed to create a barrier, shield, or layer of defense around a person, place, or object. It operates on the belief that energy is real, that unseen forces can affect our lives, and that we have the power and the responsibility to guard ourselves against those that do not serve our highest good. Protection work is not about fear, it is about sovereignty. It is the spiritual equivalent of locking your front door, not because you live in constant terror, but because you understand the value of what's inside. Protection work through the centuries. Ancient Egypt, the Egyptians were masters of protective magic. Amulets were central to their spiritual practice. The Eye of Horus was worn to ward off evil and illness, while the scarab symbolized regeneration and divine protection. Protective spells were inscribed on papyrus, carved into tomb walls, and woven into burial rites. Statues of gods like Sekhmet and Bes were placed in homes specifically to guard against disease and malevolent spirits. Ancient Mesopotamia. In Babylon and Sumeria, protection magic was deeply embedded in daily life. Clay figurines of protective spirits, called apkulu, were buried beneath the thresholds of homes. Incantation bowls, ceramic vessels inscribed with protective spells, were placed face down under floors to trap demons. The Maklu series of tablets contain extensive anti-witchcraft rituals performed by trained exorcist priests. Ancient Greece and Rome. The Greeks used phylacteries, small amulets, or written charms to protect against the evil eye. Hecate, goddess of the crossroads and magic, was invoked for protection, and her image was placed at doorways. Romans honored the lares, household gods, daily to protect the home. African traditional religions. Across the African continent, protection work has always been a sophisticated living tradition. In Yoruba, spirituality, Ogun, and Ishu, Elegba, are called upon for protection. Mojo bags, grigri, and kisi, sacred objects imbued with spiritual power, are crafted by trained practitioners. In hoodoo, a tradition born from the African diaspora in America, protection work includes floor washes, candle magic, and the use of roots and herbs passed down through family lines. Indigenous traditions of the Americas. Native American and indigenous traditions have rich protection practices. Rooted in relationship with the land, ancestors, and spirit guides, smudging with sage, cedar, and sweetgrass is used to cleanse and protect spaces. Dream catchers, originating with the Ojibwe people, were crafted to filter out harmful energies. Obsidian was considered one of the most powerful protective stones in Mesoamerican traditions. European folk magic. In medieval Europe, protection magic was practiced by cunning folk, wise women, and village healers. Witch bottles, vessels filled with nails, hair, and herbs, were buried beneath hearths and doorsteps to trap and reflect curses. Rowan trees were planted near homes. Hagstones were hung in the stables and over beds. Protective sigils were carved into beams and lintels. Asian traditions. In Chinese tradition, food talismans, red paper inscribed with protective characters, are hung in homes. The bagua mirror deflects negative energy. In Japan, ofuda and omamori are carried for protection. In Hinduism, rudraksha beads and sacred geometry, like the Sri Yantra, are used for spiritual shielding. Tibetan Buddhism employs protective mantras and dorje symbols. How protection worked. Work was passed down. For most of human history, protection work was not written in books. It was whispered, demonstrated, and lived. It was passed from grandmother to grandchild, from elder to apprentice, from healer to student. The knowledge lived in the hands that prepared the herbs, in the voice that spoke the prayers, in the memory of the one who watched and learned. The African diaspora traditions, hoodoo, vodou, candomblé, santeria, were particularly powerful examples of how protection work survived against all odds. Enslaved Africans carried their spiritual knowledge in their minds and hearts when everything else was stripped from them. They encoded it in songs and quilts and the arrangement of objects. The knowledge survived because it was worth surviving. Today we are in a time of both recovery and renaissance. Many traditions that were suppressed or nearly lost are being reclaimed by their descendants. Books, teachers, and communities are making this knowledge more accessible than ever. And with that accessibility comes the responsibility to approach it with respect and humility. Types of protection work. Energetic shielding. Visualizing or intentionally creating an energetic barrier around yourself or a space. Common forms include visualizing a bubble of white or golden light, calling in protective guides or ancestors, or using breath work and intention to strengthen your aura. This is often the first line of defense and can be done anywhere, anytime. Crystal protection. Crystals have been used for protection across virtually every culture. The most powerful include black tourmaline, which absorbs and transmutes negative energy, obsidian, which deflects psychic attack, black kyanite, which seals the aura, labradorite, which creates a protective shield, smoky quartz, grounds and neutralizes, shungite, for EMF protection and purification, and jet, used since ancient times. Herbal and plant magic. Plants carry their own protective intelligence. Key protective herbs include rosemary, one of the oldest protective herbs, rue, powerful against the evil eye, angelica root, calls in angelic protection, bay laurel, protection and victory, mugwort, protects during dream work, dragon's blood resin, amplifies protective intentions, and black salt, which is sprinkled at thresholds. Candle magic. Candle work for protection uses black candles to absorb and banish negativity, white candles for purification and divine protection, or blue candles for peaceful protection. Candles are dressed in protective oils, carved with sigils, and burned with focused intention and prayer. Sigils and symbols. Protective symbols carry centuries of accumulated intention and power. The Hamza, the evil eye, the pentagram, the helm of all, the eye of Horus, and the triquetra are among the most widely used across traditions. Smoke cleansing and incense. Using smoke to cleanse and protect a space is one of the most ancient and universal practices. White sage, palo santo, frankincense, myrrh, copal, and cedar are all used to clear stagnant and negative energy. Approach white sage with respect. It is sacred to many indigenous peoples. Protective baths and washes. Spiritual baths are a cornerstone of hoodoo, Santeria, and many other traditions. A protective bath might include hyssop, rue, rosemary, salt, and protective oils. Floor washes are applied from back to front to bring in protection, or front to back to banish. Talismans and amulets. A talisman is an object charged with protective energy through ritual, prayer, or intention. Mojo bags, witch bottles, evil eye beads, blessed metals, and programmed crystals. An object becomes a talisman through an act of consecration. Prayer and invocation. Calling on divine forces. God, the goddesses, ancestors, angels, spirit guides, or specific deities is one of the most powerful forms of protection work. The 91st Psalm, prayers to Archangel Michael, invocations of Hecate or Kali, all are valid and powerful depending on your path. Cord cutting. Sometimes protection work is about the energetic cords we carry with other people. Cord cutting rituals, using visualization, candle work, or physical tools, sever unhealthy energetic attachments and reclaim your energy. Essential work for empaths and highly sensitive people. Home and space protection. Protecting your physical space includes placing black tourmaline at the four corners of your home, hanging protective symbols above doorways, burying witch bottles at the thresholds, sprinkling black salt across doorways and windowsills, regularly smoke cleansing your space, and setting protective wards through visualization and intention. Protection work and modern spirituality. In today's world, protection work is more relevant than ever. We live in an age of information overload, energetic noise, and unprecedented levels of collective anxiety. Energy hygiene, the regular practice of cleansing and protecting your energy field, is now widely recognized as essential spiritual self-care. Protection work is not a one-time event. It is a practice, like brushing your teeth or locking your door. It is something you return to regularly, with intention and care. The more consistently you practice, the stronger your energetic foundation becomes. Where to begin? If you're new to protection work, start simple. Choose one practice that resonates with you, whether that's carrying a piece of black tourmaline, learning a protective prayer, or beginning a daily shielding visualization. Build from there. Trust your intuition. Your ancestors knew how to protect themselves, and that knowledge lives in you. And if you're ready to go deeper, to work with crystals, tools, and sacred objects that carry centuries of protective power, we're here for that too. Ready to build your protection practice? Book a private reading with us and let's create a personalized protection plan together. Thank you so much for being here. Again, this is Sabrina with Three Sisters Rising podcast. Let's rise together.